thesis statements, those things that, at some point, we've all been told must exist in every paper, must be the final line of your introduction, one line only please, and must have exactly 3 points that will be reflected in your body paragraphs. Without these elements, the whole paper crumbles. With such rigid rules, it's no wonder so many writers dread the word thesis. The good news is that all of those elements are myths. No, not every paper needs a thesis, even though many papers do have some type of central claim to provoke increased discussion. The thesis definitely doesn't need to be the final sentence of your introduction. It can come anywhere in the intro, and it may even come elsewhere in the paper. Heck, it doesn't even need to be encapsulated in a single sentence. And it most certainly shouldn't cover exactly 3 points. One key point can often do more to focus your paper and begin a conversation with your reader than 3 anyway. However, this differs from class to class. If all of these are myths, then the question becomes, what is a thesis statement? Well, it's pretty simple actually. The thesis articulates an arguable, thought-provoking, and limited claim that you will discuss in your paper. In many cases, it presents your argument or, in some types of papers, a statement that identifies your key contribution to the conversation. Some types of papers call for an explicit argument, and this is where the thesis statement stands out the most. Other types of papers require a bit more subtlety, where you add a piece to a pre-existing conversation. Even in these cases, though, your thesis still presents an idea that is unique, compelling, and that can open pathways for your reader to engage further. It can help to think about what the thesis statement does for your writing and how the reader should engage with what you have written. As a writer, you want the reader to be actively engaged in the conversation you are having. The thesis statement invites that reader to consider your position and to join you in a discussion around your topic. Being too broad can mean that you're taking on more than you can possibly discuss in the paper. The reader won't really know how the conversation will develop. Let's take a look at a statement from my own high school paper that I thought was good at the time. Quote, "Climate change is an issue of paramount importance because rampant forest fires, melting sea ice, and deforestation are destroying the world." End quote. Note that it was written at the time by a 17-year-old me without irony or the sarcasm that I now try to use to mask how bad it was. The sad thing is that this type of statement is common for novice writers, and it wouldn't be out of place in many high school level papers. Now let's look at why this statement doesn't really help your reader. It is a vague, emotional, and sweeping statement of ideas. It's all death and destruction without really moving beyond a surface level idea of the key issues at hand. By opening discussions on forest fires, melting ice, and deforestation, the statement also promises to cover a lot more material than the paper could ever possibly discuss. People dedicate entire scholarly careers to small aspects of each conversation. How could a single paper cover all 3 conversations accurately and in depth? Here's an alternative thesis statement that could work to contribute to this conversation. Melting sea ice is widely acknowledged as one of the greatest consequences of climate change, and the conversation is usually characterized by impending doom. By scrutinizing the expert opinions presented in the documentary Chasing Ice, this paper will present 2 potential strategies that give humans reason to hope amid the gloom. This revised thesis is much more manageable. It has a narrower focus, the documentary Chasing Ice. It also uses generalizations that are common in these conversations, impending doom, to present what could be a unique position that the reader will want to know more about, hope amid the gloom. It is worth noting that every course has its own demands. Some of the professors you encounter will have very specific ways of thinking about the thesis statement. They may even want you to include a thesis statement at the end of your introduction that has exactly 3 points, albeit more specific points than you may have tackled in previous experiences with writing. It's always important to check the specifications of your assignments before you craft your thesis statement. Your professor will have specific reasons for including whatever type of thesis statement it is, so that it aligns with what you're meant to be learning in the course. By and large, however, your time in university will offer you many opportunities to experiment with how you implement and articulate the central claim of your paper. There you have it. The thesis is not something to fear. Instead, it's a super useful tool to engage with your reader and entice them to read more of what you have to say. So long as you keep your claim focused and manageable, you can open pathways that allow you to both join the academic conversation while simultaneously inviting your reader to think along with you.